welcome back to the Sports Perspective TV viewers and subscribers. As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, we definitely appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the West Indies team. Obviously, it was a terrible performance in the first test match. So in this video, we're going to be looking forward. We've already highlighted all the bad things that happened. So now looking forward to the remainder of the series. In this one, we're going to be reviewing the performance of the team and talking about where improvements are needed, then looking at the players that are available, and then also discussing whether or not the team will make any changes in the upcoming test match, right? So so starting with the performance of the team, obviously the batting was terrible, right? So can't really go around that. The batting was terrible. There was no batsman really that scored over 30 runs in any of the innings, and the team did not make more than 140 runs in any of the innings. So it, plain and simple, the batting was terrible. And so obviously that the improvement will be needed there. From a bowling standpoint, right? The bowling was expensive also, right? With England scoring 371 runs in just 90 overs, right? So that's an economy rate of over four runs per over. So the bowling was expensive, but in terms of what the bowling did well, right? The bowlers took wickets, right? So the bowlers were able to take 10 wickets in that 90 over span as well. So that's a positive thing for the team to take from the performance, right? The bowlers took wickets even though they were expensive, right? So so from a bowling standpoint, it wasn't as bad as the batting, pretty much, right? The batters, definitely need to improve. None of them perform up to standard, even though there are some of them that showed potential or occupied some time at the crease, but at the end of the day, that cannot be the standard, and the batters did not perform up to standard, right? So with the bowlers, with Jaden Cease taking 4 for 77, Moti taking 2 for 41 as well. They were the pick of the bowlers. So from a bowling standpoint, right? I don't see the team making too many changes from a bowling standpoint. For the fact that I just stated that they were able to get the wickets, get England all out in 90 overs, right? So I don't see the team making too many changes from a bowling standpoint, right? But from a batting standpoint, yeah, I already said they were terrible. So, and they need to improve, right? And some of the improvements that we need to see, right? So the batters, when they get starts, right? Because there were a few batters that got starts, even though the performance was terrible. There were a few batters that got starts, right? So Mikael Louis, he got starts even though it was his debut, right? So not gonna put too much pressure on him, but he did get starts in both of his innings, right? Scoring in double figures. Also, Alec Atenes, right? He got starts in both innings, scoring in the 20s, right? I would say Louis and Atenes, as far as our batsmen, were they looked the most comfortable. Kavim Hodge as well, in the first innings, he looked comfortable at the crease and was batting well, but they got starts and then got out. And that's been typical of a lot of West Indian teams, a lot of West Indian batsmen. So the batsmen that got starts, they need to capitalize on that and spend more time at the crease, right? And we also need to see them making a conscious effort to score, right? Especially the captain, right? Kraig Brathwaite. I would say most of this is Kraig Brathwaite as far as showing a genuine intent to score, because he was just there pretty much occupying the crease, right? The other batsmen, I would say most of them got out trying to play attacking shots, right? Kurt McKenzie, he didn't perform in the first test as well, but both of his dismissals came from him trying to play shots, right? So as far as intent to score, he was trying to score, right? The same with Hodge. Hodge batted well in the first innings, then he got out playing an aggressive cut shot, middled the ball, but unfortunately he hit it straight to the fielder, right? Second innings as well, you know, he was trying to be aggressive, tried to cut a ball that was a bit too close to him and got out, right? So, yeah, the batsmen need to show more intent to score. But do remember that it's Test cricket, right? So, you won't you're not expecting them to go out and in T20 format or even a 50 over format and just try to score off every ball and play loose shots and give away their wickets. But we also don't want to see them batting like a Kraig Brathwaite did in the first match, where just trying to survive at the crease. That's not I would say it just builds pressure on the team pretty much, right? So as far like I said, the batting was poor, right? So any of those batsmen could be or can be replaced in the team. But if we're being honest, right, of the batters that we do have there in the squad, right? So as far as batsmen go, you have a Tevin Imlach on the bench and Zachary McCaskey and Kevin Sinclair, who is an all-rounder, right? So personally, I don't expect Kevin Sinclair to bat in the top 5, right? For me, he has to show more batting at the highest level, right, before we just promote him into the top 5 and throw him into a lot of pressure. Batting with the top 5 comes with a lot of things. He'll be the ball is newer, right, as compared to him batting at number 7 or number 8. The ball is newer, so you have to also factor that in. So yes, we know he can bat, but I would not bat Kevin Sinclair in the top 5. Right, so now the options it really comes down to Zachary McCaskey and Tevin Imlach, right? So I would say obviously Kraig Brathwaite and Kirk McKenzie of the top 5 batters, they were the ones that performed the worst in the match, right? So we know that they're not Kraig Brathwaite being the captain, he's not going to be replaced. He's the captain and he's also the most experienced batter in the team, right? So he won't be dropped for the second test match without a doubt. So Kirk McKenzie might be replaced, but who would you replace him with, right? Would it be a Zachary McCaskey or a Tevin Imlach? And not only that, do you feel comfortable replacing him with any of those batters? Do you honestly think that any of those batters can come in and do better than what we've seen from Kirk McKenzie so far? He did have half centuries in Australia against the Australian team, right? So would a Zachary McCaskey or a Tevin Imlach come in and do better than Kirk McKenzie? They might be able to, but that would also mean just more inexperienced batters coming into the team, right? In a pressure match. And do keep this in mind as well, right? And because I know us as fans, we tend to overreact once the team does bad. But if you remember the Australia series, in that first test match in Australia, it was a similar batting performance. I think they scored a bit more runs in the first test match, but they still didn't score over 200 runs in that first test match, and Australia won the first test match by 10 wickets. So it was also an embarrassing defeat in that first test match in Australia, and they were able to bounce back and win the second test match, right? And put on a much better batting display where they scored over 300 runs in one of their innings. So, it's not impossible for them to bounce back from a batting standpoint and score runs in this second test match, right? So like I said, the options are McCaskey, Imlach, or Sinclair. Which of those batters would you bring into the team to replace a McKenzie? I don't think they will be replacing Athanaze, right? Athanaze was our best batsman in this first test match, even though he only scored in the 20s, right? Jason Holder, batting at number 6. I also don't think he will be replaced. He did have a decent. I mean, he scored 20 runs in the context of the score of what the team scored. You would say that was a good innings from him. Just in the context of the team score, not in overall Test cricketing standards, right? So, I don't think Jason Holder will be replaced at number 6 either, right? So, will the West Indies really make any changes? It was a disappointing performance, but I honestly do not think that too many changes will be made. Especially because like I mentioned, from a bowling standpoint, the bowlers did well, right? Alzarri Joseph was very expensive actually, right? But Alzarri is really the leader of the bowling attack, even though his performance was poor, right? That was a poor performance from Alzarri Joseph, but he is the leader of the bowling attack. And if we're being honest, we can definitely say Alzarri is a strike bowler. So I don't see Alzarri being replaced for the second test match from a bowling standpoint. Shamar Joseph, he does have an injury concern, right? We saw that in the match, right? So I'm not sure. I haven't heard any updates as it regards to Shamar's fitness, right? So he might be someone that is replaced in the second test match. Not based on because of his performance, but just more from a fitness standpoint, right? So if Shamar cannot bowl, then a Jeremiah Louis would more than likely come into the team, right? Depending on what the team wants, right? So because the batting, I think we'll all agree that the batting needs help, right? So will they go for a Kevin Sinclair to replace Shamar Joseph, right, in an attempt to strengthen the batting? That's something that they possibly can do, right? And then they'll have JC Holder, Jaden Seals, and Jeremiah Louis as the pace bowlers, and Gudakesh Moti and Kevin Sinclair as their spin bowling options. That's something they can do. But that's only if Shamar Joseph is injured. If Shamar Joseph is fit enough to play in the match, then he will play, being one of our main strike bowlers as well, right? So as much as we are disappointed as fans, right, and we want to see changes made, the team that's there, the squad that's there, I honestly don't think much changes will be made based on the players that we have available, right? And then so this really and truly the blame comes down to the squad selection, right? That's the squad that was selected. So if the players aren't there to replace players after poor performances, you can only blame the selectors for that. But like I said, the first test match in Australia was also a poor performance and the team bounced back from it. So let's see how they do in the second test match. So like I said, I don't see too many changes being made, but if there are any changes that are made, then it will probably more than likely be injury force for Shamar Joseph being replaced by Jeremiah Louis or Kevin Sinclair. Those are the only changes I can possibly see being made, right? But that's all I have for you in this video, viewers and subscribers. Definitely share your thoughts in the comment section on this one. What do you think the team will do or should do as far as making changes to help the team improve their performance in the second test match? As always, thank you for tuning in. Do remember to like the video, share your thoughts in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.